this beautiful morning. You're welcome to Thursday Daybreak, the motivational moment with Godwin or Sunday. Today, the 18th day of the month of November, gradually getting closer to the Yuletide. All right, we thank God for another wonderful day like this, and whenever we say a good day, we have to be grateful. Okay, you're welcome to motivational moment with yours sincerely, Godwin or Sunday. All right, today we are going to be talking on a topic that is going to be reflecting this period we are entering soon. This Yuletide season, this Christmas season that we are going to be entering very soon, in less than 5 weeks or 6 weeks from now. Today we're going to be talking on avoiding duress and undue pressure. Avoiding duress and undue pressure. This Yuletide. Avoiding duress and undue pressure. So now, what is duress? What is pressure? And what is when we say undue pressure? Undue pressure simply means that it means unnecessary, unwarranted, and extreme pressure. Unnecessary, unwarranted, and extreme pressure influenced by some factors like the Yuletide, the end of the year, and the incoming year, and so on. It can also be caused by other relative matters, other relative issues, like you want to meet up with a budget, or you want to meet up with a plan that you've had from the beginning of the year. It can lead to unnecessary pressure in a society. Now we're going to be talking on that and how to avert it, or how to reduce it, and we'll celebrate, or end the year, and the next year is another good year that you cannot actually achieve whatever you want to achieve. So now you have to rethink and reconsider and retrace your steps, from an unnecessary pressure, from an undue pressure. Pressure, if you look at the society today, when it gets to the last 4 months of the year, there's bound to be a lot of pressure mounted upon people. People tend to live their life recklessly because they want to meet up. You see, when you are very conversant with the city, Benin City, you will notice that in this period of time, there's a lot of carelessness in the size of the drivers, the taxi drivers, and the transport companies. There's recklessness with the use of the highway, and also the market women, those people that sells in the marketplaces. They want to, because they want to meet up, they leave the space that has been given to them in the market, and then come to the road and start shading on the road, because they want to meet up. They want to sell as much as they can. They want to meet up to their target to the end of the year. So it's a very big issue in the society, that pressure has eaten deep into the society, undue pressure that we've mounted upon ourselves. Every day should just be a normal day. Whatever you have set for the beginning of the year, even if you are not you've not achieved it, or you have not seen a sign that you are going to achieve it, you shouldn't mount unnecessary pressure on yourself when it gets to the end of the year. What makes you think that even with the unnecessary pressure or undue pressure, you are going to achieve that which you have planned? What makes you think that the last 4 months of this year will make you achieve that which you have been planning to achieve? So it's uncalled for when we begin to mount pressure on ourselves at the end of the last lap of the year, because we want to achieve that which we have planned. You can take this easy, and even if you don't achieve it like you want to achieve it, there's another year coming. We always have time to do these things. Now, we have some very adverse effects, some very negative effects of pressure to meet up with expectations, pressure to get to celebrate the Christmas in a grand style, pressure to end the year in a grand style. So there are so many effects. If you are not careful enough to know that you are under duress or under pressure, if you are not careful enough, there are negative effects to this undue pressure. One of the effects is that it can lead to ill health. It can lead to ill health. Like I used to say that when you mount unnecessary pressure on yourself, you are bound to go through sicknesses. You are bound to fall ill. Subsequently, you're going to be having a series of health issues because you have mounted unnecessary pressure, undue pressure on yourself. That was one of the effects that pressure, undue pressure, can cause to individuals or to people that do not control it. So, number two, there is anxiety. Anxiety, when you mount so much pressure on yourself, undue pressure, it can lead to anxiety. Now, what do I mean by anxiety? There's fear. There's fear because you are scared of carrying over that plan. You are scared of not achieving that which you have planned to achieve. And again, you are scared. You have the fear that you may not be able to succeed or achieve that goal in the next year. So by so doing, you tend to want to pressure yourself, and with that, it can lead to depression. It can lead to anxiety, rather. Now, third point here is that it can lead to depression, and undue pressure can cause depression. Now, how do I mean? It can lead to depression. When you mount unnecessary pressure on yourself, it can lead to depression because you now start having issues with your thinking faculty. You now start having issues with your reasoning, and when you start having issues with your reasoning, you are bound to go into depression because you will feel that you won't be able to succeed anymore if you can't achieve that which you have planned in the space of 4 months. Because you feel that with the pressure on you, because once the pressure is on you, definitely you will start entering the stage which is depression. That's one effect of undue pressure. Undue pressure also can lead to hike in prices of commodity. Undue pressure can lead to hike in prices of commodities in the society, in our marketplaces. How do I mean? From the beginning of the year, you will notice that some things were not really that expensive like we have them now. Some things were not too expensive like we have them now. Although I know the what's it called now? The economy is not really too good, so it definitely will skyrocket. There will definitely be inflation, but one of the factors that causes these hike in prices is mainly Yuletide seasons or celebration seasons or end of the year. Once it's getting to the end of the year, things that normally should be very cheap should become expensive. You go to the market, you cannot buy anything because people have mounted an undue pressure on themselves to achieve, to celebrate Christmas in the grand style, to do this, to end the year like this, to do that. The pressure will lead to every sector, mostly the economic sector, which will relate to the hike in prices of commodity. So that's one of the effects of undue pressure, hike in prices of commodity. Undue pressure can also lead to aggressiveness. Aggressiveness. When people are under pressure, they tend to be more aggressive in nature. Unnecessarily they are angry. Unnecessarily they don't like people around them. People irritate them easily because they have an undue pressure to achieve what you've planned to achieve this year. Because it's getting to the end of the year, you see them be very aggressive to people around them. Even when the people they are not threats to them, they tend to be more aggressive because they are under an undue pressure. And also societal thought. Undue pressure can lead to societal thoughts or tendencies. When you're under pressure and undue pressure, it can make you reason why you start thinking of taking your lives and other stuff. And again, it leads to irrational spending. And undue pressure can lead to an irrational spending. People spend more this period of time compared to the beginning of the year. They spend more because they are under pressure. Some of them want to show what they have in them. They want to show they have it all. So they tend to start spending just because they want to show off. They start spending unnecessarily, irrational spending. They spend until they spend everything they've saved for the year or for a project they would have embarked on next year. They spend it because of the season, because of the youth type, because of the condition presently, end of the year and all of that. They spend irrationally. That's one effect of undue pressure or duress. Lastly, on the effect is that it increases crime and criminality. Undue pressure increases crime and criminality. Now, how does undue pressure increase crime and criminality? People want to meet up. A lot of crime in society today is being caused by pressure, either peer pressure or any other pressure you can think about. It leads to increase in crime and criminality when there's an undue pressure. You want to buy the most expensive clothes for Christmas. You want to surprise somebody for the end of the month, the end of the year. You want to do something that is remarkable. Because of that, and you don't have the resources, or you know that your source of income cannot afford it, why don't you relax? Why don't you plan ahead for the next year? Why don't you do what you can do? Do what you can do and just let the others go. You don't have to impress anybody. So instead of going to take somebody's property, instead of going to kidnap someone, instead of going to take somebody's possession, instead of doing all of those things, is not called for. So that is one effect of undue pressure. It leads to increase in crime and criminality. Now let's have some tips on how to avoid undue pressure. Some tips on how to avoid undue pressure. One of the tips that you can practice every day of your life to avoid undue pressure is one, contentment. Be contented. Contentment is one of the tips that you can actually practice to avoid or avert duress or undue pressure. You have to be contented with what you have. The little you are having, be contented with it. Better days are ahead. Number two, secondly, say no like you mean it. Say no like you mean when needed. Always say no when you have to mean it. For example, you go to the market and you plan to buy something, and you see something else that gets your attention. You should have to say no because you have planned out what you are going there to get. So you shouldn't always be carried away. Always try to say no, and when you say no, mean it when needed. Get away from pressure zone. Get away from pressure zone. Try as much as possible to get away from anything that will pressurize you, any zone that will give you pressure, heat to do what you're not supposed to do. Avoid it. Fourth, avoid competitions. As one tip you can use to avoid and you can use to fight duress or undue pressure. Avoid competitions. Avoid competitions. You don't have to compete with anybody to prove a point. Avoid competition. Then again, plan ahead of time. Plan ahead of time. If you know that you want to celebrate this Yuletide, or you want to achieve a goal, achieve something at the end of the year, you should have a plan that is concrete enough that will help you to achieve it before the year ends, not the other way around. So you should always plan ahead of time so that you can achieve that which you have planned. So that in order for you to avoid duress and undue pressure, you have to plan ahead of time. Then the sixth tip here is remain calm always. Try as much as possible to remain calm always. To avoid duress and undue pressure, remain calm. Be a calm person. Learn to be calm in circumstances. Learn to be calm even if the pressure in the society is affecting you, in the family is affecting you. Your in-laws are already calling you. Your family members are already calling you to start sending money. Your in-laws are calling you to start sending. But normally, you'd always send bag of rice to the village to your in-laws to do one or two things. But this period of time, there's economic situation. Because of the economic situation, you cannot be able to afford the full bag of rice. You have to remain calm and make them understand what is on ground. So remain calm always. Again, stay focused on every important things. You have to stay focused on things that are more important. You don't spend your next year budget on Yuletide. Don't spend your next year budget on Christmas chickens and Christmas rice. Don't spend your capital for next year project on Christmas shoes and clothes. Those things will always come, but try to be focused on very important things, and it will help us to avoid duress and undue pressure. And also seek help from professionals. Seek help from professionals. There are professionals who can advise you financially, and those that are very good in advising you how to avoid pressure. You have to seek help from them, so that you can be able to avoid duress and undue pressure. These Yuletide. And also live a balanced life. Don't live above your income. This is one issue that has been causing pressure in society. Live a balanced life. Don't live above your income. Don't go borrow to impress. Don't go borrow to spend Christmas or for the Yuletide. Don't go and borrow to buy things that will not create the money to pay back. So you have to live a balanced life, a minimum, like you have to know your class. So by so doing, you have to live a life that is balanced, so that you will not find yourself under undue pressure. And lastly, this morning, be patient, optimistic, and futuristic. Be patient, optimistic, and futuristic. When you are patient enough, and you know what you are doing, and you know what you are in for, and you know what you've got, and with time everything will fall into place. And be optimistic. You know that the future, there will be a better day ahead for you to celebrate Christmas, traveling around the world, touring around your favorite spots in the world. If you want to be optimistic enough to know that it's very possible, and be futuristic. You know that tomorrow will definitely be a better day. There are better Yuletide that will come. So take things easy. Not because of Christmas, because of you want to celebrate Christmas, then you start putting yourself under duress or undue pressure. It's not called for. It's not called for. So please try as much as possible to avoid pressure this period of time. I've already started seeing pressure on mountain of people. I've seen pressure on families. I've seen pressure on people in the society trying to meet up. Because you want to meet up, you do a lot of things that will cause you problem, that may even take your life. So it's not called for. Try to avoid undue pressure, duress or undue pressure. All right, thank you so much for being a part of today's edition of the program, Motivational Moment with Godwin on Sunday. Don't forget, if you cannot be happy with the little you have, you can be confused with the lot you want to have. So take it easy and try to avoid undue pressure this Yuletide. All right, that's coming from Godwin Osunde, my very self. So please try to avoid undue pressure, unnecessary pressure this period of time. Try to avoid duress. Try to avoid whatever will lead into pressure, and the effect that follows. It's going to be disastrous. So please take things easy. Celebrate the way you want. Celebrate the way you have, what you have, with what you have. Celebrate with the people you want to celebrate with. You don't have to impress anybody. So thank you so much for being a part of today's edition of the program. Next week will be another wonderful edition. Have a wonderful day. My name is Godwin Osunde. Bye for now.